The most frustrating thing about AI is probably that every time you open up a chat window and after you dump everything you want it to know, it forgets everything. So when you combine Claude Code with NotebookLM, basically you get a second brain for your business. You just go to notebooklm.google.com, you come here and you can create a new notebook. Probably the best feature of this is you can drop in websites, you can drop in PDFs, Google Drive, whatever it is. As you know, it connects to your Google suite of tools, and then it will be able to talk to only this content in here. So it will not get delusional with everything that it finds in the internet. It will actually use your files, your information in here. So think of it this way: if you have a bunch of information like SOPs and stuff like that, you put it all in here and it will know exactly where to find what and cite the proper types. There's a limit. I think there's like 50 files that you can fill, but there's literally no limit to the context that you can put in here. The easiest way to use this is, for example, on YouTube videos. A lot of the work that we do within our marketing agency is, for example, for copywriting. We'll have to have very good ad scripts, landing pages, and this and that. Obviously, you know that, Claude, ChatGPT, whatever, they're not great at copywriting. However, they're really great copywriters out there, and we can go take their materials and put it into one place. So for example, we can go open up Eugene Schwartz, who wrote Breakthrough Advertising, freaking amazing copy, great place to look for, and there's an entire audiobook on YouTube. So now we could go grab the URLs and go feed them to NotebookLM, and it will quickly go grab the entire transcript and put this into one place. So now we could ask it, give me all of the tips on how to write great landing page copy for design build firms. What questions would you ask? And then how can we create absolutely killer copy for a landing page for this niche? And it would go find all of the information. It's not just going to give us copy. It's going to ask us very key questions about our ideal client, about our products and services, what we're going to do in order that it can later write great copy. The beauty of this comes when we integrate this all together, because right now we're copy pasting from YouTube, we're putting it in here, and then we're getting a response here. But what if we want that to work within our workflows and within our applications so that it's always working time after time? You can come over here and you can just type into Google NotebookLM CLI, and then there's a couple of CLI tools here available. It's usually the first one. MCP and CLI, basically almost the same thing. It's letting you connect and integrate with the tool without needing to be on the web interface. So CLI stands for Command Line Interface, and it literally allows you to connect with the tool directly. If we go and copy this repo and we go and install it into our Claude Code space, and you can use this within your workflows. So you can store client data, SOPs, YouTube videos. You can even let it research more topics. So for example, we could go say it should go create a new notebook on everything it knows about Claude Code and NotebookLM, and fill that notebook with YouTube videos, information, and so on. And then we wouldn't have to do all the manual copy pasting. So for example, here we could go and say, okay, now I want you to research all of the YouTube videos that explain everything about NotebookLM and Claude Code and how to use it. And I want you to put those into a new notebook. And now it's going to do the exact same process that we did before manually and put those into a notebook and allow us to query them for our workflows, our skills, our applications, everything that we're doing in here. You see it goes about, it did a web search, it's looking for some YouTube videos here, and then it's going to copy paste them into a new notebook in NotebookLM, and then it's going to give me that output. And I can query it directly here from Claude Code in the terminal. And every time I'm asking it questions about this particular case and it's using NotebookLM to get those answers, it's not using any tokens. So it's not filling up my context window, it's not using any API costs, whatever. So think of use cases that, like for example, you run an e-commerce company and you have a bunch of support tickets. Now you're using AI to answer those support tickets based on your support docs and your internal rules and regulations. You could give all that information to NotebookLM, query NotebookLM, and you would literally not be using any tokens. Now the next thing that you can do is you could also connect NotebookLM to a local model that you can run locally. Like for example, Google just released Gemma 4 or Olama, other local models from Meta, or even the Chinese models like DeepSeek and Qwen and all of those models. Now, the beauty of this comes when you start using NotebookLM, for example, as your long-term memory and your brain, and you start automating certain things to happen each time you get more information in. So for example, we built a NotebookLM with all of our sales calls. Every sales call that we had, every objection that we had, every pricing discussion that we had, we put it all in there so that every time something comes comes up with one of our reps, they can go in there, they can query it, they can ask about that specific conversation, and they'll get the right output to have a better conversation with the prospect at the time. So if we wait for this to finish, everything that we did manually, it now did on its own. It created this notebook for us. It added 27 YouTube videos instead of just 4 or 5 like we did before. And all of them have a lot of information on Claude Code, NotebookLM. Let's see if it can do this infographic for us that we can use in this video. And there we go. Here we have our completed infographic about NotebookLM and everything it can do. Looks pretty good to me. And now obviously you can go and you can give it your style guide and tell it to do things differently or better or whatnot. You can try different few versions and prompts, and ultimately it might give you exactly what you're looking for. We could also tell it to give us a video overview, and it would go and generate an explainer video that we can then post online. So you know about all those agencies that give you explainer videos. I guess that is now over as well, because you can quickly just come in here and generate an explainer video and tell it exactly what you want it to be. You can even have an interactive podcast with NotebookLM. So you can query your entire database, let them tell you all about it, and interrupt the AI with your questions. So for example, hey, can you do this too? Or why not do that? Or what about this? And it will give you specific answers on exactly the content that you have in here. And here it's created a little explainer video based on this.
What if I told you that creativity isn't just some random lightning strike? What if it could be bottled? That's really the question. Schwartz threw down this.
So that's literally the whole setup, the memory, the enrichment, the different things that you can do, the podcast, use it as a business brain. I found it most useful when it's connected to Claude Code within my terminal. So I can use different skills and workflows to query it, to get the information that it needs, and then to build out upon that. Now, if you want to take this a step further, there's a lot of different ways how you can use it. Most importantly, I think you should just go try it, go integrate with it, maybe use the CLI, connect it to Claude Code, and see what you can do with it. They're updating it on a daily or weekly basis. It's really insane. I think it's literally the best way to store a bunch of content without going above and beyond with your token usage. If you enjoy this kind of content, comment below what you'd like to see next, and I'm going to create an overview of that specifically.